I don't want us to get wrapped up in this imposter syndrome thing anymore. There's so much weight and baggage that comes with this. The insecurities that you're facing are you're not good enough, you don't deserve something, you're not worth something. All of that you embraced probably at an early age and told yourself that whatever that person was saying about you was right. And you know what? They weren't. They were not objectively right. Maybe they weren't right. Maybe I am divine. Maybe God put me here for a reason. Who am I to spit in the face of God? Men, today I want to talk with you about the concept of imposter syndrome. This is one of the questions and conversations that gets brought up all the time over the past 10 years. And there are so many men, probably at this point, millions of men who feel like they're dealing with imposter syndrome. And I'm going to be a little harsh. I'm going to be a little frank with you guys today. Enough, okay? Enough with the imposter syndrome thing. I know in modern times we're supposed to be sorry about us being men. We're supposed to be humble. We're supposed to be meek and mild and weak and pathetic and cowardly and everything else that modern society would tell you to be. Guys, just get over it. I've got some ideas for you, and I'm going to share some ideas, but I hear this so often, and everything that I hear just holds no weight or relevancy around how you ought to feel about yourself and producing in your life. So what I want to address today is imposter syndrome, but I want to give you the man's perspective, because what we often hear is a watered down, weak, pathetic version of why you should feel inadequate in your life about who you are. So this is going to rub some people in the wrong way. And if you've ever felt like, oh, I'm an imposter, you're probably going to be rubbed the wrong way when you hear what I'm about to share with you today. And you know what? Good. I want you to be rubbed the wrong way. I want you to critically think about what I'm about to share with you and ask yourself if this is even something that you should entertain. If this concept of him being an imposter is something that you should even buy into, that you should even embrace to any degree in your life. And I'm just telling you right offhand, it's not. So I'm going to give you some reasons why that is. So I'm going to share with you where this comes from for the men that I've dealt with over the past 10 years. And I'm also going to give you some steps on what you can do about it if you feel like you're a quote unquote imposter. But let's address this thing first. Imposter syndrome is the idea that wherever you are in life, whatever results that you're enjoying, whatever benefits of life you're enjoying, whatever happiness or fulfillment or satisfaction that you have in your life, that you're not worthy of it. And who are you to say you're not worthy of it? Maybe somebody else acknowledged that you were. Maybe you're out there serving other people and they are telling you that you served and helped them. And are you going to be the one to say that wasn't good enough? Imposter syndrome is very selfish. Again, stick with me on this, guys. You're not going to like what I'm going to share with you, especially if you suffer from this, but I need you to hear it. You're being selfish. You're being self-centered. You're so focused on how you present, how you show up, what other people think about you, whether or not you do or don't deserve X, Y, and Z. And all of that is centered around you as if you're the center of the universe. And you know what? You're not. You're not. You're not the center of the universe. And I'm not the center of the universe. Our job is to serve other people. So if it's your kids or your wife, your significant other, your colleagues, your clients, your friends, your family members, your neighbors, make them the center of the universe. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't continue to work on yourself and make yourself capable of serving others, but stop worrying about yourself. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve that. I feel like a fraud. I feel like a phony. I. Stop it. Just stop, please. Okay, all of this imposter syndrome stuff is rooted in insecurity. You're insecure about who you are. I don't know if I've ever felt like an imposter because I'm not. I acknowledge the truth about where I am. I acknowledge the deficiencies I have in my life. I acknowledge where I need to improve. I acknowledge my weaknesses. I'm also willing to acknowledge my strengths. And I know that my purpose goes above and beyond what I can produce for myself, but what I can do for other people. And therefore, when somebody promotes me or somebody compliments me or somebody congratulates me, I can say, thank you. I know I did a good job. I'm not arrogant about it, but I know I did a good job because I prepared and trained and worked hard for the results that I've produced in my life at the behest of other people, at the benefit of other people. So let's break this down on the insecurities thing. Number one, you feel like you're not good enough. You feel like you're not good enough. And you know what? Maybe you're not. Well, frankly, you'll never be good enough. John Eldredge talks about the idea that every man is answering the question, do I have what it takes? The answer is yes, you have some of what it takes. And the other answer is no, you don't have what it takes to be fully who you want to be, or at least who you ought to think you want to be. You're going to fall short. You're not going to get the promotion. You're not going to get the woman. You're not going to have the career that you want. You're not going to have the financial prosperity and abundance. You're not going to be praised and worshipped by other people the way that maybe you have dreams in your sleep about how you'd like it to be. It's fine. It's fine. Who says you're not good enough? You're a divine entity. God has put you on this planet to do something to serve other people, to be better, to serve other people, to help people on their own progress, and then eventually return to Him. So yeah, maybe you're not good enough right now. So what? Somebody believes that you are. Somebody's asking you for questions or answers to their questions. Somebody's asking for advice. Somebody's looking to you for influence. Be that person. Stop saying, I'm not good enough. You don't get to decide. That's the interesting thing about value. You don't get to decide how valuable you are. Other people get to decide. And when you start thinking, even for a second, that I'm the one who gets to determine what my value is to others, you're being arrogant. If somebody comes to you and says, hey, I need advice about this, it's because they're asking you advice for something they think you know. Be gracious. Accept the compliment and then give them the feedback they're looking for. Number two is you don't feel like you deserve something. Well, I don't deserve the promotion. I don't deserve the happy marriage. I don't deserve my children. I don't deserve this award. Who said? Because somebody clearly says you do deserve it. Your wife married you. Your kids are looking at you. You just got the promotion. You just got the acknowledgement, the recognition, the notoriety, the congratulations, the award. Who are you to decide what you deserve? Now, look, I know there's some nuance and caveat to that. Like, you should know your worth as a human being, as a divine entity. But if somebody else is congratulating you or acknowledging you or awarding you for a job well done, you don't get to decide that. They decide that. Value is always subjective, meaning it's only as valuable as other people believe it is. And if somebody comes to you, if your boss comes to you and says, hey, we want to promote you, then you deserve it because that person acknowledges it in you. If your wife comes to you and says, hey, I've had a hard day, I need some advice, then you deserve it because she honors and acknowledges that you might be able to give her the insight she needs to get through her day. If your kids are struggling with something at school and they come to you and tell you about what they're struggling with, then you deserve the notoriety and accolades that come with being a father, or the pride that comes with being a father because your kids actually reached out to you, which means that they think you're worth it. And if they didn't, they wouldn't come to you. Number three, feeling like you're not worth something, that somehow you're this inferior, not that you don't deserve it, but that you're just an inferior person. So we fall into comparison trap. We might say to ourselves, well, you know, I'm really glad I got the promotion, but that guy is better than me. I'm really glad that my wife loves me, but that guy has the better marriage. I'm really glad that my kids will turn to me, but those kids over there love their father more than my kids love me. None of that has any bearing in reality, okay? First of all, you don't know. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And second, why are you comparing yourself to other people? Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Maybe you weren't as good as you could have been yesterday. I talked with a close friend of mine today. He said he blew up at one of his kids today, didn't mean to do it, hasn't done it in the past, felt really bad, and tried to make amends. That's all we can do. That's life. It's hard being a father. It's hard being a leader. It's hard being a business owner. It's hard being a husband. And if somebody else is acknowledging you or somebody else is doing quote unquote better than you, first of all, don't believe everything that you see because you don't see all that's going on. And number two, you're not at competition with that guy. You're not trying to win his wife over. He's not trying to win your wife over. You're not trying to be as influential in the lives of their kids as I hope you're trying to be influential in the lives of your kids. Just worry about you and yours. And then you won't have issues with I'm worth something or I'm not worth something compared to the arbitrary comparisons that we make throughout life. We got to get over these insecurities, guys. I'm so tired of hearing the concept of imposter syndrome. It's not relevant. You know, we would never, never in a million years tell ourselves that, you know, we just had the NFL draft not too long ago, maybe a month or two ago. We would never tell ourselves that one of the premier draft picks was an imposter because he was practicing on improving and eventually made his way into the NFL. You would never say that, even though some things they do well and some things they do not so well. You would never say to a person who says, you know, I'd like to learn the guitar, and that individual starts practicing 20, 30, 40 minutes a day. You would never say to that person, well, you're an imposter. No, they're learning. They're not telling you they're the best. They're not telling you they're God's gift at the NFL or the next, you know, incredible rock star. They're just saying, I want to improve. I want to get better. And isn't that all you're trying to do? So you're not an imposter. You're just trying to get better. And I know, excuse me, people will try to pull you down. They'll try to drag you down because they don't want to face their own inadequacies. And so it feels hard at times because you'll either see people who are doing really well or you'll see people who are trying to hold you back. You can't be distracted with either of those things. But let's talk about 5 things specifically that you can actually do about the concept of imposter syndrome. Number 1, understand that when you feel like you're being a quote-unquote imposter, it's just a story. And in stories, some of them, all of them, I would say, are infused with an element of truth, and all stories are embellished with elements of fiction. There is no story that has ever been told in the history of mankind that is 100% objectively accurate. It's all viewed through a lens. It's all viewed through bias. It's all viewed through different perceptions or vantage points. It's all viewed through a distorted and skewed reality of what actually happened. You know, we see this in police reports. You can take 2 people who are standing side by side that saw a crash or an accident, and one person will give one account and the other person will give another account. Why don't they always match up? Because we see it through our own lens. Everything that you're telling yourself about your life is a story. All the good, all the bad, all the ugly, all the indifferent is a story that you've made up to cope with the realities of life. So when you're telling yourself, I'm not good enough, that's a story that you've either written or embraced. We're going to talk a little bit more about that here shortly, but it's not real. And if you're going to make up a story about your life or your circumstances and tell yourself, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve, I'm not worthy, make up a different story. It's not real, guys. Nothing that we deal with when it comes to interpersonal communication or the way people see us or the score that we get from other people is real. It's just made up. I'm not going to say it's arbitrary. It isn't. People are making up stories based on their own perceptions and realities of life, but what you're dealing with is a culmination of the stories that other people have come up with and the stories you've told yourself about your life. Number 2, you need to unpack where these insecurities are coming from. So the insecurities are you're not feeling like you're good enough, that you don't deserve something, that you're not worth something. These are just stories, but where are they coming from? Excuse me. Where are they coming from? When did you start believing that you're not good enough? When did you start believing that you weren't worth some measured result in life? I use the 5 W's, which is, the when, where, what, why, and who, and maybe even how. Let's break that down. Number one, you have to reflect. When you start telling yourself, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this acknowledgement. I don't deserve this promotion. I don't deserve this marriage. I'm not good enough for this. I'm not worth that. Ask yourself, where's it coming from? Number one, when did I adopt this idea? When did I embrace this idea that I'm not good enough? Number two, where was I? Was I with my parents? Was I with my friends? Was I with other people I thought that were better than me? What was I doing? Maybe I was 10 years old and I was playing baseball and it was a very close game in the championship and I struck out and then my dad yelled at me because I struck out and lost the game. And he said that I lost the game. That did not happen to me. I'm just creating this story for you guys. What was I doing? And then what did I make that mean about myself? Why? Why did I embrace it? Why did that person say it? Why did my dad maybe say, hey, you're a loser because you lost the game? Probably because that's what his dad instilled in him. It had nothing to do with you. It was just a manifestation or realization of what his dad told to him. And that might afford you a little bit more grace for what your dads have said and done as you were growing up, but it's just a story. And then the last one is who? Who told you that? Did your dad tell you weren't worthy? Did your mom tell you weren't worthy? Were there enough other people in your life who were so insecure about themselves that they didn't want to see you excel, and so they, instead of trying to improve themselves, they tried to drag you down? Like who actually told you that? It wasn't you. I don't think for the most part we have a lot of new ideas. I think we can formulate new concepts based on an equation of new ideas that we've been exposed to and embraced throughout life. But at the end of the day, other people are speaking into us and we get to decide if we're embracing that or not. When did you learn that? Where were you when you learned that? What did you make it believe? Why were people telling you that? And who actually told you that? Part of the other equation for unpacking where these insecurities come from is just reflection and journaling. Journaling has been huge in my life. When I have anything go wrong, whether it's a bout of insecurity or maybe I lost a client or a relationship broke down, or I've had a hard time with one of my children, or the business isn't doing well, I really spent a lot of time reflecting and thinking and journaling. I have my journals right here. Excuse me. Here's my latest journal. I've got a couple others in my drawer, but this is my latest one, and I write down just about every day what I'm feeling, what my insecurities are, why I'm feeling that way. And as I write it down, I realize, oh, they're not as real as I made them out to be. They're not the giants or the monsters I thought they were. So unpack the insecurities. Reflection, when, where, why, what, and who. And second, journaling. Number 3, rewrite the past and current story. So I already alluded to this, that when you tell yourself you're not good enough, we know, based on what I've already said, that it's not objectively true, but we've written that story and we've read it so many times, even in our own minds, that we begin to believe that it is objectively true. It's not. It's not. Nothing you believe about life is objectively true. Maybe you could make the case that 2 + 2 is 4. Maybe you could make the case that the way that you spell imposter syndrome is a certain way, but even that is subjective, because if you're speaking a different language, it's spelled a different way, and it might mean something completely different. Everything is subjective. Literally, everything is subjective. So what you need to do is rewrite the story. So now you have an idea of where that came from, and instead of thinking that your dad was a dickhead about the way he treated you, maybe the story you need to tell yourself is that my dad was treated like garbage, and therefore he learned that and he emulated that on me. Now, does that absolve him of responsibility of being a good father? Of course not. It just means you're a grown-ass man and you can write your own stories. Why are you so trapped in what other people think and believe in their own stories? Write your own story. Joseph Campbell talks about this in The Hero's Journey. This is your life. It's not your dad's life. It's not the past relationship, your ex's life. It's not the high school teacher who told you you'll amount to nothing's life. It's yours. Rewrite your story. Hey, maybe I'm not an imposter, but maybe I'm on the path. Maybe I'm learning. Maybe I'm growing. Maybe I'm getting better. How many of us have got better at something over the past 10 years now, because we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary for Order of Man? I've got better at podcasting. Does that mean for 9.5 years or every podcast, the 1,500 plus podcasts I've done up to this point, that I'm an imposter? No, it means I was learning. I was on the path. I was growing, and I'm better. I went and watched my very first YouTube video that I ever did 10 years ago, and it's horrible. It's still up. I leave it up on purpose. I don't want to. I'd love to take it down, but I want you guys to see what it looks like. Go to it. Go to youtube.com/Order of Man, scroll all the way down 10 years ago to the very first video I ever did, and you'll look at it and say, this guy's full of shit. And I was. I didn't think I was an imposter because I was honest about it, but you know what? I'm better. And 10 years from now, when I look back on this video and this conversation, I'm going to look at myself and say, man, I was full of shit. I was not good at that, but I am now. Because I'm rewriting the story every day about what I want to do and who I want to be and what I believe I deserve on the path to being better, to serving more people. Number 4, now that you've rewritten the past, it very likely had little to do with you and more to do with what other people were dealing with. Now you get to rewrite a new story. So the guy that wants to pick up a guitar and learn how to play the guitar and be the next, rock star doesn't have to live in who he is, but he gets to decide as a exercise in consciousness that I want to be something more. And all that's standing in my way between where I am right now and where I want to be is my own practice, my own reps, my own ability to grow and develop and learn and improve and learn from shortcomings. If you want some more information on this, you can go back to last week's Friday Field Notes where I talked about the integrity gap. If I told you I'm an incredible guitarist, but I don't spend any time playing the guitar, then I'm full of shit. And I am an imposter because I'm lying. But if I say to you, hey, I really want to learn to play the guitar, and here's where I was last week, and here's the chords I learned this week, and here's how many hours I practiced this week, and here's how much better I am today than I was at the same time last week, that's not an imposter. That's just being honest. If you're willing to admit that maybe you aren't the best husband that you can be, but you know where you're falling short, and you know where you're struggling, and you've talked with your wife, and you've talked with your kids about how you can improve, and you're actually doing something about it, you're not an imposter. You're just on the path to getting better. Don't sell yourself short, and don't let other people sell yourself short either. It's none of their business. This is your life. Rewrite the story. I'm going to be blank, therefore I need to do blank. And then start backfilling it. Go back and listen to last week's Integrity Gap episode. Number 5. This one's tough because we typically place the most heavily weighted beliefs and ideas on our own thoughts and behaviors. So if I tell myself, let's take a professional environment. If I tell myself that I'm a sack of crap and I don't deserve a raise and that I don't add much value to the company and that I'm not worth having around, but my boss and coworkers really support and believe in me, they love having me around and they ask me questions and they know I'm a valuable member to the team, who am I going to put the most weight on? Whose opinion? Mine, of course. And it should be that way. But if you're feeling like an imposter, know that value is subjective. So again, I told you this earlier, I don't get to decide what's valuable to you as a listener of this podcast. It's not up for me to decide. Now, I want to be valuable. I want to continue to get better at this craft. I want to learn how to communicate and articulate ideas with you. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide whether or not this podcast is valuable. And literally millions of you believe it's valuable because you download these episodes each and every week, each and every month, and each and every year. There are also, if you didn't already guess, plenty of people who send me messages every single day telling me that I am horrible at this, that I can't believe men listen to you, that I'm going to unsubscribe, that you're full of crap. I hear this stuff every day. And you know what? They're right, actually. for themselves, not objectively right, and I don't buy into it because I know. I have enough faith in myself that I know that that is not accurate. But they can believe that, and they're welcome to believe that. And as a grown-ass man, I have to acknowledge that other grown-ass men can make their decisions about what is valuable and what isn't. But if somebody is acknowledging you for something, just say thank you and embrace it. You don't get to decide what's valuable in their life. If somebody says, hey, you know what, Steve, we had this project at work and I was a little behind and you came in and you gave me some support and guidance and direction and we caught back up and we got this project released on time. That's their reality. And so all you need to do is say thank you and then feel good about the work that you did. If somebody sends you a message and says, hey, it's been hard lately and my wife and I are going through a divorce and I reached out to you last week and you talked with me for an hour about your own divorce and what you were struggling with. And I just want to tell you that really kept me sane. Maybe it kept me sober. Maybe it even kept me from committing suicide. I've had situations like that. And you can just say thank you because it's not up to you, it's up to somebody else. And so point number 5 is just lean on other people's belief in you. If your wife says to you, I believe in you, lean on her. Not to her own detriment, but just lean on the fact that what she's saying is true for her and embrace that idea, borrow it from her. If your boss calls you and says, hey, I want to give you a raise or I want to give you a promotion, lean on him or her to accept that somebody else sees value in you. If you're working for a client and they're trying to decide between you or 2 other firms and they choose you, believe and honor that they're grown people, that they're smart and intelligent and capable, and whatever system they filtered their decision through led them to your solution. You don't get to decide. Other people do. And when we embrace the idea that other people can be happy or be mad or be satisfied or be satiated or even be pissed and bothered about the things that you're saying and doing, then all of a sudden that becomes less relevant. And then you get to decide, I'm going to place more emphasis on the people I've served relative to the people who say I haven't served them. Guys, I don't want us to get wrapped up in this imposter syndrome thing anymore. There's so much weight and baggage that comes with this, and I hope I addressed it to some degree, but the insecurities that you're facing are you're not good enough, you don't deserve something, you're not worth something. All of that you embraced probably at an early age and told yourself that whatever that person was saying about you was right. And you know what? They weren't. They were not objectively right. You just along the way, whether you were 10 years old or 40 years old or 70 years old, decided that that person's right. What if instead you asked yourself, maybe they weren't right? Maybe I am divine. Maybe God put me here for a reason. Maybe there's some value that I'm placed on this planet to offer to other people. And who am I? This is the thought that I have. Who am I to spit in the face of God? Who am I to say that all the gifts and talents and gifts that you've given me and the skill sets that you've given to me are not enough, and I don't think they're good enough, and therefore I'm going to sit and hide because I feel unworthy? I've told a lot of people this. When I have let me back up. People have asked me, what do you want to be known for? I've got that question quite a bit, actually. What do you want to be known for? What do you want to be acknowledged for? If you were on your deathbed or your kids were giving your eulogy, what would you want them to say about yourself? And you know what I would want more than anything else is for them to say, when Dad had an idea, he had the balls and moral fortitude to follow through on it. He had the grit to say, I don't know, but let's figure it out. Let's find out if that idea is going to work. And I've talked with friends and people I care about for years now, and I've said, I have a moral imperative to be the best. I have a moral imperative to be the best podcaster. I have a moral imperative to be the best dad. I have the moral imperative to be the best man that I can be in a romantic relationship. I have a moral imperative to be the best friend to my friends that I can be. And I don't get to decide if I'm an imposter or not. If they believe in me and God believes in me, then I have a moral imperative to step fully into that and get over my own insecurities, get over my ego, and start embracing the ideas that understanding, number one, their negative stories. Number two, unpacking where the insecurities come from. Number three, rewriting the past and current stories. Number four, writing a new story. And number five, leaning on other people's belief in you. They believe in you. I believe in you. Now you just have to ask yourself what you're going to do with it. Let me know if that serves you guys. I know the imposter syndrome is a big deal. If I was to surmise it up in one sentence, don't be an imposter. And now you have the weight and the context behind what I mean when I say that. All right, guys. We'll be back next week. We've got some really, really powerful conversations lined up in the next 3 weeks. I'm excited to get out to you. So make sure you subscribe. In the meantime, we're going to be opening up our Iron Council, and we talk about imposter syndrome, and we push and lean on guys so that they will feel better about who they are. We're opening up on June 15th, and I would love to have you as part of our culture. Go to orderofman.com/Iron Council. All right, guys, again, we'll be back next week. Until then, go out there, take action, deal with your imposter syndrome, and become the man you are meant to be.